Hello, Gig Harbor Church. I know that it has been a little bit of a time since I've given you an updated video. I know some were possibly waiting to hear from me this week as far as it pertains to where we currently are, where we've been, where we're going. So I wanted to drop a quick line with each of you, but really wanted to first off say that we are excited and celebratory about the fact that it feels like there's a loosening of some of the mandates that we have been living under for quite some time now. Initially, I was hoping to be able to do this sooner than later, and then the numbers in Pierce County did what the numbers in Pierce County did. And really, since then, we've actually had a few cases of COVID amongst our body, none that I'm aware that have occurred or anybody had gotten anything from our building. One of the heartbeats of our church community from the get-go has been to work really, really hard to abide by what we are being asked to do. I feel like we as a staff and as a leadership have done that very well in the sense that we've maintained very strict cleaning protocols, we've maintained our spacing, we've worked really hard to try and abide as a partner with other brother and sister churches in the area, so that we can not only just be compliant, but also protect our people. I've got a scripture from Ephesians 4 I want to read to you, and then I'll talk a little bit about where we are as of today and where I see ourselves going in the coming days. Ephesians chapter 4, starting in verse 1 through 3, says this: "Therefore, as a prisoner for the Lord, I encourage you to live as people worthy of the call you have received from God. Conduct yourselves with all humility and gentleness and patience. Accept each other with love, and make an effort to preserve the unity of the Spirit with the peace that ties you together." I know it could be easy for us to find disunity, and to be quite honest, I think that's what the enemy would love for us to do, is to find the pockets of disunity where we don't align ourselves on issues or ideologies or specific topics. But I just want to challenge us and help us be reminded to conduct ourselves as people of humility and love, and find ourselves in unity. And when we do that, we will actually discover a bond of peace. This last Tuesday, our staff met to sit down and talk about both where we are and if, in light of the new changes of us moving into phase 3, what that would look like for us, and if there's any major changes we want to make or what we see and anticipate in the coming days. And quite honestly, I had some of my own thoughts, and I sat down and just let the staff talk, and we talked together, seeking a spirit of unity together. And we really feel like the ways in which we've approached this, God has been honoring to us. He has cared for us. He's been helping us resourcefully in the last several days. And so one of the things that we decided is that, knowing that there's going to be a reevaluation starting at the end of June, I have felt like as your pastor, the changing of phase 3 and then the alternating of mask wearing hasn't necessarily done us a favor as far as it means for church leadership to make decisions. We've really sought to sort of walk alongside of what the CDC and the health department have been encouraging church leadership to do. And now, with a little bit more of a gray area, it's sort of opening some places, others, and you're seeing that in some of the businesses that we're seeing. And as we begin to talk, we just have evaluated and recognized that the steps that we have been taking have been working. And we have sought to continue to live in that same heart and in that same mindset. And so this week, because we're open up to 50%, we're allowed up to a little over 100 people in the building, but our spacing only allows us to have about 87 or so that we can space safely in the building. And we're going to continue to ask you to sign up, is that this will actually help some people that maybe have been thinking about coming back. But we find ourselves, I would say, in sort of a 5-week window of sort of transition. This is what I mean, is that the fact that we've got new layers of all kinds of everybody landing differently on wearing masks, or whether or not they're going to get vaccinated or don't want to get vaccinated. We have a segment of our population here at the church that are vaccinated. We have a segment of our population that are not vaccinated and not necessarily want to get vaccinated. We also have those that are waiting to see. I will let you know as your pastor that we're not going to have a vaccinated-only location in our sanctuary. In no way, shape, or form am I seeking to create a visual spirit of divisiveness as a part of who we are. To do that sort of, I feel like, gives us a set visual to sort of pit ourselves against one another, which moves towards disunity, which is not what we're called to do. So with that said, we are going to continue in this 5-week window. I know that there's going to be a new evaluation at the end of June, around June 30th. The anticipation is that everything will be open fully by then. And I think that 5 weeks, we had discussed and felt like 5 weeks down the road is not too long for us to continue to hold where we currently are, because that window of both vaccinations will continue, our case numbers will continue to give us some visuals, and we'll be able to determine by the end of June whether or not just us opening up fully will be the best for us. I'm hopeful that that will be the reality, but we will reevaluate again at the end of June. With that said, though, we will continue to hold the line with those asking you to continue to wear masks as you come and worship with us. We have some that don't want to do that, and we understand that and respect that. We also have those who feel much safer having them on, and so no matter what decision we lean, it sort of creates, it feels like a wavering in some aspects. And so this 5-week window, we're going to continue to hold the line where we currently are so that we can reevaluate, and hopefully by the end of June, we'll be able to really kind of come back in full gusto like we're anticipating. The next 5 weeks is going to tell us a whole lot, and we're asking you we've come this far, and I'm asking you to kind of be patient for the next several weeks as we continue to look forward. One of the things, just a couple of other thoughts I want to give to you. Starting on the first week of June, we're also going to have the Joy Sunday School class. We're going to allow them to continue to come and start meeting downstairs in the 9:30 hour. We want to slow roll our coming back if it's possible for us to do that. We just don't think 100% go is the best way to step forward in the days to come. So the first Sunday in June, we're going to welcome back the Joy Sunday School class downstairs at 9:30. One of the things I read this last week talked about the importance of leadership, church leadership, whether or not our focus is going to be upon returning to the building or moving people forward. Is the focus going to be returning to the building or moving people forward? My heartbeat has always been to help continue to invite us and point us to the person of Jesus and to allow Christ to form and through his Holy Spirit shape who we are called to be. And so I want us to kind of hold that mindset in the days to come, that if our whole motive is just to come back to the building so that we can go back to the way it is and our hearts are not moving forward, that's not a good reason for us to come back. I want us to be able to think about, what does it mean for us to move forward as a church body? What does it mean for us to move forward individually in our relationships with Christ? And I want us to, the way in which we meet in the future might just look a little bit different. One of the things that I would really love for us to think and focus on during the course of the summer is, what does it mean for us to reconnect? And not necessarily just reconnect in this building, but what does it mean for us to reconnect with one another? We're going to try and set up a handful of events during the course of the summer for you to just come and be and see one another and to reconnect and establish relationships. There's people that have started coming to our church in the pandemic that you haven't met. There's people you haven't seen for a long time that you want to see. But I want us to continue to keep the mission of God at the forefront of our hearts and in our lives. As your pastor, my heartbeat has always been to be the best steward of the calling that God has placed upon my life. That has been central and most important, and to be a person of integrity and to lead in those particular ways. And I hope that I've been able to do that with effectiveness and with clarity. And I understand that no matter what decision I make, it's not going to be popular for certain segments of our population. I understand that. I carry the weight of that. Believe me that I do. But I want to be the best steward of the calling that I can be as I lead the people that God has entrusted to my care here at Gig Harbor Naz, both for now and in the days to come. So we continue to pray for me and pray for our church leadership and pray for our board as we continue to wrestle and navigate these kind of strange days that we find ourselves in, with anticipation and excitement that it feels like we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And as always, I want you to know how much I love you and I pray for you. And I want us to be reminded that God is in control. He's sovereign. He is in control, and we turn our attention to the direction in which the Lord leads. May Christ show that, reveal it in us, and may we be obedient to the ways in which he calls us to be. Christ be with you. You're loved.